Hey everybody, going to be doing Men at Arms on this happy Friday, and going to be knocking this one out really quick. Bear with me a second while I post this over to the page so everybody can see it, and I'm going to be able to do this. Hey, cool. Alrighty. Cool deal. Alright. Hey, Noel, you made it, man. Hey, Daniel. Popping in a throat drop there. Been recording all day and working on the FET for Kevin to knock that out. So gonna be pretty cool with this Man at Arms. Gonna keep it real simple on this one. He's got a lot of intricate parts, but the thing is to keep him very clean when you draw him, so that you don't trash him out. You know, most people go way mech or manganesque on this one and go into that look, and they end up trashing more of it than they make work, which isn't what you're supposed to do with this type of character. I see it all the time, and I always tell my students, I tell the kids and adults alike, please don't overdraw. Please don't overdraw your stuff, because a character like this will pop right out very strongly if you just let it ride and do the basics. And by that I mean put in the line work, put in what you're supposed to, make sure all the anatomy's there, but don't go haywire with drawing all the little lines and nicks and stuff with the character here, because Men at Arms isn't like the typical comic book or cartoon hero. He's very direct and clean cut. And if you go messing with him too much, it tends to look like you overworked it on purpose. Like giving the helmet this dimension here, this lip, as it were, this edge, is to make it pop off of his face just a little bit. But other than that, I didn't go too heavy with it, because a lot of people will take off and just run amok with this thing and ruin it. And the reason is because, like I said, they overwork it to no end, and that just takes it to a whole new level. And I mean, you can get, if you're like doing a comic book, and you have to do something a little more ornate and a little more detailed, that's fine. But when you're doing something just to draw for the enjoyment, sometimes less is more, as the old adage goes. And the thing is, it's true 100%, because I'm going to make this guy pop off the page with no problem. And I'm not going to do all the swirly marks and all that mess, and all the little the nick in details and stuff that some people do, because I just want to get the essence of the character at this point. I don't want to go overkill, because a lot of people tend to do that with these sketch cards, and I'm seeing a lot more people do this since I've gone live for so long now. I'm seeing a lot of people going live, and I mean, I'm not the first, and I'm not the last, but I've seen a lot of people trying to do drawings, every day and whatnot, and they just go overkill, and they're going, well, look at what I did, but yet it took you 3 days to lay it out and 3 days to draw it. You know what I mean? So I mean, you show the layout one day, then you show the pencil one day, and you show everything in pieces. If I do that, it's because I'm behind. I'm just being honest. So I'm trying to keep that down to a minimum, where these cards still look good, but we get the principal character in essence, because I don't want to go off and just cut into them just to do that. So this one's going to have a lot of perspective to it, a good strong perspective, which it does already, and then it's going to have a lot of good character because of the fact that I'm going to be picking it out here with minimum required edges, but enough to give you the essence and, like I said, hold the details to the character. I'm seeing that so often these days is that people are just burning it up and throwing it out there and going, wow, man, look at this pinup I drew, or look at this I drew, and look at that I drew. And when you ask them to do a comic book, they can't. And the reason is because they're overworking it. You know, they're doing 5 times the work. Kevin's Boba Fett that I've been working on the last couple of days, last day or two anyway. As you guys saw me do the pencil work for that, that was the first day I'd worked on it. But, you know, I had the layout and I had the pencil down, no problem. Then I got into the inking part of it, which took me a little bit longer. It took me a couple of hours to do that because it's back burner against my other work, of course. But beside the point, you know, if I can't do something really quick, I don't want to do it. So I tend to work really fast. And in that regard, that's a massive piece for me. So 2 days is not a good thing. I should have had it done a couple of weeks ago, you know, in about 8 hours. And the reason I took my time with it is because I've been doing it back burner. And that's why, you know, on these, I want to kick them out and get them done so you guys can see them. And I'm trying to get back to doing them daily, but I've got so many of them now. And then with the projects coming out with the new books and stuff and everything going on, I'm falling a little bit further behind on it. So I try to get them as close to possible, at least as close to possible on pen and ink. And I'm going to get back into that next week. So I won't be able to this week, but I'm going to try to get back to doing, spending an hour, 90 minutes, so around in there, and start knocking these out for you every day. And start posting them again like I was originally when the series started. Because it's my busy season. I got overwhelmed. But I'm going to still stick with it every single day, just like you guys like to see. So the main thing is if you're drawing these, you know, especially if you're following suit and going on live and doing your own thing, I see this, like I said, I keep seeing this all over the place. And I'm okay with that. You know, now that people know that you can do that, it's awesome. Do it. I have no problem with it. I didn't write it. I didn't create it. I say the more the merrier. I'm not the type of person that's like, you stole my stick, man. No, not at all. I really don't care. I'm glad you're doing it. But I just want to reiterate the point of if you're going to do it, make sure you do it right and make sure that you don't get overwhelmed to where you fry yourself, because you will really easily. And that's the reason I decided to do cards instead of full covers or sketches or anything like that. You know, I've seen people do that. I've seen a bunch of people do that. Mario Gully did that for a while. And, you know, the creator of Ant, he did that for a while where he did pinup after pinup after pinup after pinup. And then he got sued by, or a cease and desist, not sued, but a cease and desist from DC Comics. And they told him not to make them into prints anymore because that's what he did with them. You know, he made a bunch of drawings and stuff, and they were awesome. And he ended up making a couple of prints and into T-shirts and posters and stuff, and they finally gave him a cease and desist on that. I don't want to see you guys get into trouble. You know, take legal from your own legal team. Don't take it from me because I'm not an attorney. So, you know, and I don't play one on TV. So please don't do that. Get your own best legal advice and take your own choices as you see fit. But understand, you know, don't get overwhelmed is the thing. Don't get in over your head. Keep it very, very simple. Keep it small. If you want to do sketch cards, a sketch of the day, or, you know, whatever you want to do, that's your call. I'm totally going to back you up on it. And if I see it, excuse me, if I see it, and don't choke to death in the process, if I see it, I will support it. That busted me up. I told you I've been recording all day. We had a severe temperature drop here, not to get sidetracked, but we had a severe temperature drop here yesterday too. Last night, it dropped down into the 30s here in Oklahoma City. Weird stuff. But, you know, it's right here at Halloween, so we expected it. And it got really wet and all the pollen and stuff blossomed one time before it got, you know, before it dried up and died off. And it's just, ugh. And it's not going to stay cold enough to do anything over the next couple of days. I don't think it's supposed to get down into the 20s, they're saying, but we'll see. If it actually holds a freeze and a cold snap, we might actually kill that off. But anyway, as I was going to say before I start choking, um, it's live, people. It's live. Um, if I know that your stuff's coming out there, let me know. You know, if we're friends or whatever, let me know. I will definitely, on any of the social media. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, um, Twitter, pretty much everywhere. Just find out where we're connected at in our network and let me know. And I'll be more than happy to stop by and say hi and promote your stuff and plug it. And, you know, if you're sharing my stuff, I'll definitely share yours. So not that that's an obligation. I'm just saying, if I like your stuff, I'll share it. I share gems all the time. Um, you know, and it's just one of those things. Uh, it's community over competition, as I always say. And that's the big thing. You got to get out there and show this stuff off. But, you know, if you're going to be doing it, make sure you do it right within reason. And like I said, find your groove with what you're fast enough to do. But don't obligate yourself to something crazy, you know, like an 11 by 17 page all day long, you know, every day. Because I've been doing this for over 170 days now, almost 180, which is 6 months, people. 6 months. And not that I'm bragging or anything, I'm just saying for sake of argument of, you know, wanting to protect the people that want to follow it. I'm glad you're inspired. I love that. Please be, please do. It's all good, but make sure that you don't get in over your head. I've seen so many people try to do this, you know, and I see a lot of people trying to make their own, you know, Facebook Live shows and stuff. And that's not what I'm doing here. I do these videos because I have a show that I do them for, and I do them through Facebook because Facebook Live is easier to get the video. But I give you guys the chance for the live session because people have asked me to do the lives over the video channel and then put them on my YouTube as well. So, you know, and that's exactly what I do. I put them in both places, but I do the live first so that you guys can see it and see it happen and have fun and hang out and whatnot. And if you're here, that's awesome. But if you're not, then darn you, get on here. But but you know, in all seriousness, it's fun, you know. But I see a couple of people getting overwhelmed with this stuff, and you know, I got asked yesterday. It's like, man, how do you do that so fast and blah blah blah? Well, it's because this is a card. I have the layout when I come on. The layout's already there. The hard work's already done. Okay, but this is just for the blast of doing the card itself. Okay, do all the hard work first. Do the layout first. And it's like, well, you know, that looks like Todd McFarlane. It looks like he's tracing over what he's already drawn. It looks like you're tracing over the picture because you already did it. I'm not tracing the thing. It's mine. Relax. So it's not tracing if you drew it. I mean, it's not, and there's no other paper here. I'm not tracing anything. It's an outline. It's a layout. That's what professionals do. So get on board with that. That's okay. It really is. It's okay. So there's nothing wrong with laying out first, because if you don't, it's going to make your artwork look like a 4-year-old did it blindfolded. So don't do that. And no, I'm not knocking any 4-year-olds that can draw, because I could draw at 4. And I appreciated that. You know, it wasn't like this, but I could draw at 4. And I've always been able to. But it's a totally different thing. So respect that. Don't go off. Any parents that have a 4-year-old, please don't go off on me. I'm not bashing 4-year-olds. People get crazy on the internet. You said you hated my 4-year-old. No, I did not. So, but yeah, I have people ask me all the time what's going on with all this stuff, you know, and how I do this and how I draw the comics as fast as I do and this, that, and the other and blah, blah, blah. You know, well, I've got some backburner projects with people that would probably say that I'm very slow, but you know, where it matters, I get it done, man. But it's one of those things. Don't choke yourself out for this. If you want to do it, I'll support you completely. All for it. Because you'll never catch up with me and do what I do, because guess what? I'm me and you're you. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no difference. And I'm not being a jerk saying, you know, I'm better. What I'm saying is I do my way, you do your way, we all have fun. Make sense? Hope that helps. But Yeah, this is coming off really quick. I am happy with this one. I wasn't when I started, but I was like, you know what? This is awesome. This guy is really coming off the page, and I like it. And just to liven it up just a little bit, I'm going to do a couple of hairs in here. Now, I'm not going to go crazy with it because I'm not going to draw on each individual hair, because then that just makes it go for black, like a black and white look, and that's just, it kills it. It flattens it out. That's the easiest way to put it. All right. But I give it a little life that way. I like to do that with the hairs. And it shows more than one instead of, just like a Lego type. Like the rescue type. The rescue heroes they have for, Legos and what is it? Fisher Price. The little figures. And they got that big rubber mustache. Big old hard plastic mustache on there. My nephew used to play with those. And so did my dog, and it made my nephew cry. Oh, man. I have a very large lab that used to come up. He wouldn't chew them up, but I'll tell you real quick. My nephew would be playing on the floor with his toys, and he'd come to stay with us out of state. He would come up to stay with us in Oklahoma, and he would be playing with his toys in the floor, and my dog, my rather large lab, decided to just come up and take them, and he'd go take them in and lay in his bed with them. We have to get on all the time for that. But anyway, yeah, that mustache made me think of those figures. Made me think of that. That's funny. Hey, it's family. It's life. It's what it is. If you can't laugh at stuff like that, then why are you on telling stories? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm one of the few grown men I know that would admit that they won't go into a haunted house because of the fact that, they will aggressively pop somebody. And it's not the funny thing about that is it's not, we're right here at Halloween, and I envy everybody that gets to go into these things because I love going into movies and stuff and being scared. I love a thrill of a good scare. Love it. Love it. But what ends up happening is, snap my lid off there. What ends up happening is I end up, like I said, with the law enforcement training and stuff like that, and the martial arts background and stuff like that. I end up breaking out of that mold and that mood, and I'm afraid I'm going to hurt some kid just trying to do their job, and I would feel horrible about that. And I've actually tested that theory. I went into a haunted house a few years ago to try it out, and a buddy of mine came up to visit, and I was hanging out here in the city, and I was going to go into the haunted house. It was right at Halloween. My wife and daughter were out at the time, and it's crazy, they were gone, and they were trick-or-treating and doing their thing, and I went into this haunted house and got grabbed by some kid. I grabbed him up by the shirt, and I'm like, nope, can't do it. And then I walked out and told the curator at the gate, I said, you told me he wouldn't touch me. The kid grabbed me. I'm done. I need my money back. I'm not going in. I was like, I'm going to hurt these poor kids. So one of my friends at the police department thought it was funny and was laughing at me rather harshly. But, it's one of those things. If you get out there and you got something going on, hey, tell the story about it. You know what I mean? It's life. It's life. It's life. Especially if you're doing these type of shows. Because I asked about this as well. It's like, well, how are you not afraid to do this stuff and be on camera? For one, my mug's not on it. For two, this is on it. I'm showing my craft. And what you get is me. It doesn't matter if it's my marketing, if it's my comic books, whatever. You're going to get whatever you get. I tell stories all the time in marketing and stuff as well. I'm just not afraid of it. I've been doing it for so long, it doesn't bother me. Now, I will say this about I will say this about Man-at-Arms. I don't want to bash on Filmation because I love those guys and they do phenomenal work, and I'm still a huge fan of the company. Always will be, just like Hanna-Barbera doing some weird stuff now and again. I just want to point this out. Does this not look like somebody stole or borrowed something from, say, Star Wars? You know, let's put a little visor line right across here. Can you see him in like a Y-wing? I'm just saying. I just call it out like I see it. But I was laying that out and I was just like, man, that's a Y-wing helmet. Because if you remember in the Star Wars films, if you're a fan, the Y-wing helmets were the squished V-shaped ones that came out like this, kind of like a sideways egg. And then the other helmets, like the X-wing, were shaped more like an X figure because you had the two stripes down the two stripes down this part and this part down the visor, and they all came down and around, and they were more sloped in, and more form-fitting to the head, like Luke's, because he was an X-wing pilot. And then you had the blue Blue Squadron pilots, which had a different style helmet. So go figure that one. I mean, go do the research. You know, you'll see it. It's weird. It's weird. And there's subtle differences. They're not really massive differences. They're subtle differences. Because I thought everybody was like, hey, man, one rebellion, one helmet. But nope. They are, in fact, different. I did not notice this. I had to do some reference and, use the old goob, Mr. Google, and check this stuff out right beforehand. And they are different. I've been following those films all of my life and didn't know that. I swear people were going to knock at the door and take my sci-fi card away. Seriously. Just like, Brad, you got to give it up, man. You didn't pay attention. But, now this is Man-at-Arms Mace right here, all joking aside. And if you draw this out, be sure to put lips on these and make them flat disc, because if you notice, they're transmorphing disc, which means they can change. And because he has different weapons in his armor, and can manipulate that into spikes, or they come out like mallets sometimes, whatever he needs in the moment. There's also a bolo in there. He can hold that thing up and it'll come out it'll shoot cables out. And in the newer cartoon it did that, it shot cables out. Be sure and understand that bolo is in there, and round those out as disc, not spikes or the knob prongs like on some of these. I'm just saying that so you have that reference. I forgot to flesh this out for this ring here. And this is going to be, when I ink this, I'll clean this up because this card is really rough and I don't want to tear it up. I got one of those rough cards. See, this is one of the things too. I deal with this on the show all the time. And I call it a show because of what it is. But the thing is this. Whenever I'm working with the materials and they don't work with me, just improv. Don't freak out, because it's like, well, what if your card's rough, or what if you break a pencil, or what if you are and I'm through it? I'm like, I don't care. As long as the people don't care, I don't care. So, by the way, thank you guys for all hanging out with me. And I want to stop and take a moment and let you know. 1, 2, 3, and 4. It posted in the original picture of the day. I want you to stop and take a second and put 1, 2, 3, or 4 for the character design you want to see. You can check on my timeline for the picture. Number 1 is Merman. Number 2, I believe it was. Bear with me just a second and I'll let you know. That way we get it right. Number 1 is Merman. You can put number 1 in the comments for Merman. You can put number 2 for Trapjaw, 3 for Triclops, and number 4 for Beastman for tomorrow. If you want to vote for the card and you're here, vote for it. And whoever's not voting and doesn't put in the comments, I'm sorry, that'll be whoever picks it. So be sure and put in your vote for that. Because right now, I think Kevin's got one in for Trapjaw. And Man-at-Arms hands are green, so we're going to leave that there. Now another thing too about the people in Eternia, they wear a lot of fur. You ever noticed that? All their pants are like fur. And the men wear a lot of tights. I think that's for a barbarian look for the He-Man coverage. But still, it's just little things like that you notice if you look for it. And you can point it out really easy. And it's fun to think about. But at some point, it's a little awkward. So, I don't know. I'm going to be getting a bunch of messages from moms. What are you talking about? Leave He-Man's loincloth alone. It's like Tarzan. So, got a surprise for you folks. This is what Kevin's waiting on. Got a surprise for you. Ding! So you can see this in high res right now. This is what we've been talking about. This is Kevin's Giveaway Friday piece. And just wanted you guys to have a chance to take a look at it. I am hand coloring this one. And all we have left now is the belt and the gun, the rifle. So this is what happens if you were in on one of the Giveaway Fridays. This is what you would get if you come in on the Friday, on the Giveaway Fridays, and say that you want this. This is the kind of thing that you get. It's an 11 by 17 piece, and everybody's been asking me to show it. There you go. I'm going to be finishing that up tonight and sending it off to Kevin in the next day or two once I have his Electra finished up. But anyway, back to the card real quick. Be sure and vote 1, 2, 3, or 4. And we are going to go from there. Also, today's Friday. This coming Tuesday, I don't remember what day that is. Forgive me. This coming Tuesday on the 31st, I will be posting the first lesson in the how-to program for you guys. The How to Draw Comics series that I'm going to be doing. And it will be posted on Tuesday. We will have the first video up. Yay! I hope everybody watched my how to draw hands and heads example. That was pretty cool. It's in my timeline if you didn't. It's here on the page as well. Be sure and check it out. Nothing to buy, just checking it out. Just checking it out. Nothing to buy. And I think you're right, though, man. Kevin mentioned that he thinks that it's the sci-fi adventure element, the fantasy element. And I think that's true. I think that's right up where they were going with it. I can't wait for the new He-Man movie myself, the Masters of the Universe remake. I don't know who's playing in it yet. I haven't found anything on it publicly yet, but I'm hoping that they do it. So we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, I think we're pretty much done here. I don't want to mess with this too much. Other than finishing out his laser here that pops up out of his gauntlet. I want that covered. But other than that, though, we're going to call Men-at-Arms done. Okay? So now we've got 3 of those series. So you guys jump on and tell me which one you want, because you're not going to get it. If you leave it open, I'm going to pick it. So you better answer up. So be sure and check it out. When you watch the video, post it in the comments. I will be counting them tomorrow morning. So if you watch it this evening in the replay or after or whatever, and you don't have time to watch it right now, go back in and put in your number for it. I'll leave it up through the night. And then tomorrow, I will pick the winner for the character. So keep close watch. Hope yours wins. Talk to you tomorrow.